A mysterious meeting in the Seychelles, a remote luxury archipelago off the coast of East Africa, known as a haven for offshore banking. The participants, the founder of the private military firm Blackwater, a Russian fund manager, and officials from the United Arab Emirates. This whole thing reads like a spy novel, but it's actually the subject of the investigation by special counsel Robert Mueller into the Trump campaign's possible plans to set up a secret back channel of communication with the Kremlin. And now the story is deepening with news that Blackwater's Eric Prince, a Trump associate and brother of Education Secretary Betsy DeVos, may have withheld the truth about who else was at that meeting. George Nader, a Lebanese-American businessman and Middle East specialist with ties to the Trump team. So with me now, Devlin Barrett, national security reporter for The Washington Post, who broke the story wide open. Devlin, nice to see you. You are speaking with people familiar with this whole investigation. What are you hearing about what exactly happened in the Seychelles?
Well, the Seychelles meeting has been sort of a mystery for a long time because what we originally reported last year was that intelligence officials believed this was an important meeting to try to establish a back channel between the Kremlin and the incoming Trump administration. Eric Prince, who you mentioned, denied that pretty vociferously and denied it to congressional investigators over and over and over. And now what we've learned is that another participant in those meetings, George Nader, has basically provided evidence, and Robert Mueller has other evidence that also contradicts Prince's version of events.
So, as you point out, part of the vociferous denial is that Prince never mentioned Nader, and I'm just wondering, now that Mueller, knows these things, how will that affect his whole storyline?
Well, it'll be interesting to see how Eric Prince now talks about this. When we called him for comment for the story, he just referred us back to his past statements to Congress, which has obviously been cast in some doubt at this point, I guess it's fair to say. And he knows Nader. Nader once worked for Eric Prince. So it's curious. Some of his answers are far more curious just knowing that George Nader was there. But obviously it's problematic for this whole issue of, what were the Trump transition officials trying to do right before the inauguration. It's not the only instance where we hear about some effort to create a back channel, a sort of an unofficial line of communication between Trump officials and the Kremlin. But this seems to be one of the earliest versions and attempts to do that.